And hello, everybody. It is November 3rd. It's a Thursday. That means it's another real estate update time. Jaden Bax, how much snow did you guys get up in Crossfield?
Too much. No, too much. It's and it's that everybody like in Calgary knows it's the blowing, right? And so there's drifts everywhere. And I was trying to get to my firewood pile to stock up the fireplace. I just thought nuts to this, so I cranked the heat up in the house instead.
Yeah, and just for fun, just because we don't have a lot of time today. Quite honestly, we have no time. I'm getting so much stuff. I'm going to show. This is my front. Give me 1 second here. Excuse the live. Okay, now there we go. But we'll. Is it going to send? Yeah, there it's sent. You can hear the ding, and let's just pull it up here, just for fun. Just for fun, let's show you what my front walk looked like. Hold on, I have the technology. There we go.
Oh yeah,
so it is. That was my front walk. So that
looks like you need a shoveler in your household.
Yeah, I'm the shoveler. Anyway, there we go. You know what we're going to do? I think the normal high, I always laugh when they say, oh, well, the normal high is 6 degrees already. Like maybe over the last 300 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on topic here. So what we're going to do today, as we always do for the month wrap up, we're going to go through the weekly stats. Jaden's going to talk about mortgage rates, and then we're going to go pretty deep into the wrap up for October. So interestingly, again, this week, we got third week in the row where new listings got totally blown out by solds. So 199 new detached listings, 222 solds. And 111% sale to new listing ratio. So look at that sale to new listing ratio in the last 3 weeks. 39 days on market, 182 price reductions, only 1,610 active listings. And again, if you haven't seen this before, I don't count pending. Technically, pending, you could go write a backup off on, but you're not technically active. So that's why I count it that way. Active listings total between all the segments down as well. So then when we flip over to a year ago, last week, sales were down 17.6, new listings down 10.9, actives down 20.25. So that number is starting to shrink a little, but as we've talked about, it's going to take a long time for it to really, really shrink. Pending our median and average price, we're not going to worry about that. We're talking about all the pricing in a second here. And then days on market down to 39. So interest rates, you said you updated them, Jaden. So what is the update?
Yeah, so there wasn't a big change, but it's an interesting thing that happens, right? So we had, about a week ago, interest rates shot up on the fixed side. And that was kind of pre-prime, so pre-variable move. But they shot up in a really kind of aggressive way all of a sudden out of nowhere, and I wasn't really seeing the move in the bond market for that to happen. So I was kind of curious what happened. Well, they pulled back, so we're kind of back to where we were a couple of weeks ago. And then of course we had that half point rate hike, and I suspect the half point rate hike is why we pulled back on the fixed side as well. I think that the bond market reacted to the Bank of Canada not going to 0.75 of a point and said, oh yeah, no, this is a little bit more stable than we thought. The inflation numbers aren't what they want them to be, but they're back kind of in the wheelhouse lower than they expected them to be at this point with the actions that they've taken. So I still, I'm working on a file for somebody who's thinking about breaking their mortgage and locking in early because they're scared about interest rates, and that's fine if you can afford at that 5.29 or whatever. I just, they're renewing next April and they're worried that things will go higher. I can't, I can't say that you should be making decisions based on what the media is saying right now, right? So, follow the market. I think we're going to be in around this between 4.5% and 5.5% for the next little while on the fixed side. But this, I keep hearing these reports of the 80s and the 12 and the 16 and 18%. And I can flat out say that for me personally, I don't see that happening. I think we're going to see a little bit of a back and forth over the next 6 to 8 months here.
All right, sounds good. Let's go to the market highlights for October. So you may have seen some of the news yesterday. So our sales were down 15% year over year. Not surprising when we look at those weekly numbers that we track, of course. Benchmark price up 9.6% year over year. And we're going to get into each segment and why things are happening the way they are. New listings down 13%. Inventory, as we've been talking about, down 20% year over year. Months of supply squarely still in the seller's market side of things overall. There's very nuances. There's a lot of nuance to the market. So overall, a seller's market. Days on market down 6.9% to 40. So when you look at the detached side of things, the growth is happening sales-wise north of $700,000. The reason for that is when I say nothing, I mean, there's just not for sale under $500,000. If you put a home that's, $500,000, $550,000, $475,000 on the market right now, it is sold pretty quickly. We have clients, Jaden and I, that are looking kind of in the north part of Calgary, either semi-detached or detached. I mean, everything detached is pending. Everything detached we looked at is pending. The semi-detached in some cases is as well. Sales were down. Inventory in lower priced homes, 35% lower than typical levels. So that's what I'm talking about, right? So when you have a $500,000 home, you're not having 10 homes to choose from. Maybe you're only having 6 or 6.5 or 7, if that makes sense. Then there's a huge indicator right there. 42% of the inventory is in the upper price ranges. Prices still increased 12% year over year. Sales to new listing ratio of 80%, and there is 2 months of supply. So overall, you would say, okay, well, that's a seller's market in terms of the months of supply and the sale to new listing ratio. But sales north of $1 million have kind of ground to a halt. People are just a lot more hesitant. So that's where we're seeing, and I'm getting tons of bings and bongs, so I apologize. I turned on do not disturb mode apparently. Semi-detached. So we had a pullback in new listings. So new listings, people were not putting their homes on the market, and that caused the sale to new listing ratio to push above 80%. So when we don't have listings coming on the market, but we're still getting sales, that again increases demand. Prices up 9% year over year, but slightly down from September. Here, there's a lot of data here on Row Townhouse, and it is probably the segment of the market that is performing the best right now. So year-to-date sales up 42%. So why is this happening? Well, the question would be, okay, so this is a first-time buyer product, or it may be a move-up product, or it may be a move-down product, right? So you have first-time buyers, move-up, downsizers that are all looking into this kind of product because it's priced reasonably. You get more of a home, if you want to call it that. And this is what's happening, right? Prices are only down 0.5% from September, and that's actually only 1% off of the high prices that we saw in June. So whereas all the other segments, particularly detached and semi-detached, have really slid from spring, Row Townhouses just essentially have not. Because there's still so much demand. So the price gains were highest in the North District. So that's like Evanston, Nolan Hill, Coventry, Panorama, Harvest Hills. Those would be considered North District. Sales are up 18% year over year in October. And as I mentioned, down only 1% from September. And a sale to new listing ratio of 106%, right? So if you are selling, if you're thinking, just was on the phone this morning with somebody thinking of selling a townhouse up in the Northeast in Redstone, great time to do it. Great time to do it. Ideally, it would have been spring, but the next best time is now. So interesting, hey, with Row Townhouses, Jaden?
Well, and especially when you look at, like, you can say ideally it would have been spring. On a $500,000 Row Townhouse, maybe you're down $5,000 from spring.
That's right.
you know, that's not, I don't think that's the end of the world either, especially when you look at this as maybe in spring you were thinking about moving up into a detached, which was more than, it has lost more than 1%. And so that move now makes a lot of sense to me financially.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So apartment sales, great news here. Sales are up 56% year over year. Inventory of only 2.6 months. That's the lowest it's been since 2013. Prices are up 11% year over year, similar to September, but they're still below 2014, 9%. So 2014 was such a high year for apartment condos. We still haven't really recovered there. Things are high, although obviously it's all relative. Sales are up 11% year to date compared to 2021. Inventory is still super tight, 0.5 months. Are you selling a property? You're thinking of selling a property in Airdrie? Let's chat, because it is a great market up there for selling. Prices down 6% from the high in April, so not horrible, right? I mean, in Vancouver and Toronto, where sales are down 40 and 50%, this is not what we're talking about in our market area, right? So, in fact, there you go. October price up 14% year over year. Jane, you have a lot of clients up in that area. What are they feeling on the buying side?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're feeling that they're not finding anything. What they're finding now tends to be new builds sometimes that but they're waiting on that, right? And so, you know, I have clients who are supposed to move in the end of this month. It's probably the beginning of next year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like 2-month difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Okotoks. I mean, same story here, really sale to new listing ratio of over 100%. So every home that gets listed gets sold, basically. Benchmark price is up 11% year over year, and then obviously it's eased. The high was May for Okotoks. Cochrane, sale to new listing ratio of 90%, so still a really, really strong seller's market there. Inventory lower than the long-term averages. Prices are up 11%, and then also eased since May as well. So that is the market wrap up for October. So honestly, I think if you're a buyer, so what does this all mean? All these numbers are great, but what does it mean? So if you're a buyer, you do have a little bit more time depending on the segment. So if we're talking about detached, I think you can still put in conditions, but you're going to need to get in there on, you know, kind of day one. If you're looking in that 500, 600 range, get in there day one, write a strong offer, have a great pre-approval from Jaden, have him provide a letter, which he does, and we send that with the offer. And there are multiple offer situations going on there. If you're a seller, this is still a great time. And I mean, it's like, oh yeah, great, Mark, you're in sales. Of course you'd say it's a great time. Well, no, the stats speak for themselves, right? Like at 2 months of supply overall in our city, it is still a great time to sell. Are the prices going to be the same depending on the segment, you know, as spring? Row townhouses, yeah, actually they will be pretty much the same. Yeah, I got some weird comments popping up here. All right, good. Okay, so yeah, so you know what? So there are pockets if you're in the higher price points that are, you know, a little bit more of a challenge, but that's really coming at it with a great pricing strategy. How quickly do you need to sell? So all those things factor in as well. So hopefully people did not see those comments because I did not show them on the screen. So we'll go delete those after. But Jaden, thanks so much for doing this. And any final thoughts on the market wrap up?
No final thoughts on the market, but I'm going to see the Flames tonight in the Dome. So I'm looking forward to that first game of the year for me with my boys. So go Flames, go.
Awesome. Let's break that 2-game losing streak.
That's
and
it.
We'll talk to you all in 7 days.
Thanks, guys.